may not exist on this planet. Maybe we would have gone extinct. But remember who we're related to. People like Cain that killed his righteous brother Abel out of jealousy. You know, I mean, when we forgive, man, you'll see yourself struggle. I do. Are you kidding? It's so hard when you just think, God, why didn't you decide this instead of that? How could you have done that? You this, you that, in our hearts and in our minds. So we're inconsistent outwardly with our lips. We're altruistic and benevolent and merciful and forgiving, compassionate, empathetic, and we're being who we really want to be. On one hand, out our mouths, but sometimes we're not really deep down in the marrow of our heart and soul, our spirit and our mind. We're not forgiving because it's so hard. This is one of the biggest messages of Jesus going to the cross, the forgiveness of sin, how he took all that on his back. He bore what we deserve to bear. Okay? And God knows, I don't want to know what he went through. But, all I can say is, because he said, what I've done, every man can do it more. And that must mean getting the word out, the good news about God, that God is all good, not responsible for anything bad. But he had to either give us free will choice, or we could just be all like all the other creatures, automatons going on pure instinct. But it's the free will choice that got us in trouble, our ancestors. And then we got the death gene as a result. That was the penalty. That was the price we paid. And so our nature was all screwed up, and we shouldn't be able to comprehend sin. No other creature can. They don't understand that. They don't feel guilt, shame. What are those things? They're oblivious to being naked. They've got no use for money. If you asked any creature in the world, an insect, anything, when it was hungry, would it rather have $1 billion or a bite of its least favorite food? What do you think it would take? But what would every human take? You see, money literally is like a false competing God. It's a God of this world. It runs the lives of the people of this world, the people that are in charge. Christ did not say when he took off from this world a couple thousand years ago or so, he did not say that now I'm in control of this world. He did gain all authority, not because he's power hungry, no, but he took it upon his back. It's like a chief of some Indian village. He didn't want to be the chief, but people forced him to be chief. Kind of. I mean, that's how it is. We're saying, yeah, this is the one. God says this is it, and I believe God. When you see what happened when Christ was crucified, and the earth shook, the tombs were opened, the dead were raised to life, the guards shook and were like dead men. The veil of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. Mind-blowing stuff. God said, this is it. This is it. Last straw. The final propitiation for your sin, you pathetic humans. You either accept this sacrifice, this payment for ransom for your sin, accept forgiveness, and that's it. Accept my mercy, my compassion, my kindness, my generosity, my nurturing, my love for you, my concern for you, my care for you, or there's nothing left to expect except what? What are you going to get? Fall into the hands of an angry God? That's a terrible thing. The living God is just, that's why the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, according to King Solomon. Reverence. It's a deep and profound reverence we have for God because, all of us have broken the law, the laws of man in some way. If we're not doing it today or may do it in the future, there's some code, some rule, some regulation, okay, some law that all of us can break, right? And face the consequences, okay, of society, right? But when it comes to the one law of God, we need to ask ourselves, are we following that? Are we loving God above all else? Not because we're religious, just because we believe that there's no other excuse for why everything exists. It's just, it's impossible. It doesn't make any sense. It's the only logical, simple explanation for why creation exists. Why the flora, why the fauna, why all the design that's replete, why the male female paradigm that's replete. Okay, it just would make no sense. I mean, you could go down to microscopic levels and examine the perfection, the design, the engineering in everything. The fact that there's electrical energy in the living creatures. And you can tell me this is all a quirk. This all just happened because you gave it a long enough period of time. That's just bizarre thinking. I mean, that's nutty. That's nutty to think that would happen. Okay, so the only logical explanation is that there is this almighty, powerful creator, this spirit, this power. I mean, the higher power than us for sure. I mean, the universe and everything contained therein, the galaxies, the solar system, the way everything's laid out so perfectly, a solar system's operating like a fine Swiss watch. And do you think a fine Swiss watch got to be that on its own? Did it fall off somebody's workbench and whoa, all the parts just accidentally came together? Is it like a junkyard? You put all the parts in there and turn it in a big tumbler and you come out with a brand new shiny Harley Davidson or Cadillac. It never happened. It would never in a billion trillion years would that ever happen. But yet I'm to believe that. No, the only explanation is there is a God. And we got to find out what this God expects from us. Personally, that's our own obligation to ourselves. That's it, man. In revering God and saying this is the most important relationship. Okay, am I really ready for the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Let me get on my knees. Let me get on my face and ask. Am I right in my opinions, my beliefs, my convictions? Are they right with you? To believe in violence, and then you find out, no, that's wrong. Don't believe in violence. Don't trust in violence. Don't have any faith in violence. Believe in God. Remember, that's it. Let God be angry. I'm telling you, it's our only hope as a species is that we let go and let God do the heavy lifting. And if there's going to be any violence, let him do it in his way, because he doesn't want to act violently toward anybody. He wishes none to perish, but all to come to repentance. He does not delight in the destruction of the wicked. And our hearts have to be the same as his. You understand? Father knows best. And, it's all going to happen. It's all going to unfold in God's time, not mine or yours. So I can be as anxious as I want. It's not going to help. I need to relax and just say this about saving souls and reaching out to evil people, whether you're on purposely evil or inadvertently evil, but you've just succumbed to this evil world system, the dark world system. Jesus said the prince of this world, that's Satan, is still going to be in control until he returns. You understand that? So this is a big deal. These people aren't going to relent. They love their lives in this world that much. They love their stature, their power, their prestige. They love the money and all the accoutrements thereof. Yes, the control and everything. They're sick. They're twisted. They're like, I don't know. I'm not a psychiatrist. I can't really use the terminology they would use for you get to the bottom of it. They're Satanists and stuff like that. Worship some of them at the very uppermost echelons of power. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to compromise your soul and you think you're smart, there's something wrong with you. You're certainly not smarter than the holy ones of God, the righteous, that value deeply their soul and have it's given away to God. God, it's in his care. That's it. Because if you're going to be judged ultimately, that's whose hands it's in is safe. You're going to judge correctly. The one in this world, nuh-uh. That's why I'm trying to convince everybody I can. Just say, jump ship, man. Jump ship. Get away from the evil one. Because it's going to destruction. It's careening to destruction. We're all stuck physically on this ship of fools. So we all have to use money. And we're all money lovers to some degree, so we're all culpable. We're all guilty. Nobody has a right to be on a high horse here. We're trying to win friends. That's the purpose. That's the function of the righteous now. It's just to convince others to say, hey, start getting rid of that stuff. Use worldly wealth to win friends. Get rid of that crap. Don't get caught with your pants down. Okay? That's it. That's it. Get rid of it, man. We need universal prosperity. That's God's will. That's what makes sense. God's a God of fairness and justice, of equity. God is an egalitarian. God represents every single good quality, characteristic, and attribute. Okay? No holds barred. Okay, that's it. And if we want more of something good in our lives, then we need to turn to God to give it to us, grant it to us. Because, tell you friends, I feel weak. I feel pathetic at times. I mean, I not too happy with myself at times. You know, God will he'll give me some relief like in a dream or something. Like I had a dream the other night. Just like I'll have these dreams of my ex-wife, and I think, oh my God, it was so beautiful. It was intimate, even sexual, and not like when I was a young man, sexual, but just it was beautiful. It was just a beautiful. I mean, you know, for any guy in his right mind, ladies, you should all have the highest self-esteem. You really should. Low ego, humility, beautiful qualities. These are irresistible qualities. Very attractive in a female. I mean, she's the female. I mean, it's just natural law. It's a beautiful. They're extremely unique. We're like 180 degrees apart. That's the way God made it, like a magnet or electricity, gravity. I mean, it's just, God's got all the powerful forces figured out, and the male-female one is very powerful. But it's just that losing what your dream. You planned on sailing across the sea that we call life with this person. You've given yourself, body, mind, and soul to this person, and you just love this person so much and want to keep them so much, and it's just so shattering, disillusioning, and it's so obliterating even to the essence of a man. If you lose that, in your life, it's like a hernia. You have to really experience it to truly empathize on that level. It's like a unfortunate private group of people, guys that understand that. But the woman, you're worth more to any guy in his right mind, ladies. You're worth more than the world. Okay, money, yeah, trillions, billions. Nobody cares. That's it. That's what a man really wants, is to be whole. That's the best feeling in the universe. It's God. That's the nature of the Creator God. That's what God wants for us. That's what makes sense. That's a very beautiful thing. That's the greatest gift God can ever bestow a man with, is a woman, a good woman. And, when a guy thinks he found that, and he thinks he's going to be able to keep it somehow, and day by day he works it out and convinces her to stay with him and gives her the love she needs to be satisfied and all that sort of thing. But then you lose it, and it's shocking. And the feelings of jealousy and all that. I mean, who was it? King Solomon, I think, talks about this. But jealousy infuriates a husband, he says, and he will not spare in the day of vengeance, something to that effect. You can read for yourself, but it does kind of highlight the emotions that typical males go through. I mean, we're the males, we're the guys, ladies. The idea of another guy plowing. I hate to be crude. I mean, that's wrong, right? Making love. That, to me, in my mind, it's no better. I mean, it's awful. But it almost, though, it's the kind of thing where there's a limit. It's like the innermost limits of fear, or it's just surrendering, saying, God, into your hands I commit my spirit, like Christ on the cross. And you just say, okay, yeah, I mean, it wasn't, she's a wonderful woman. She's got a, great mind, really good heart, and she's got a great figure, and yeah, she's never let me down. So enjoy, lucky guy, this sort of thing, lucky guy. And just, I wish you the best, good luck, blessing. You want to be who you really want to be as a man. You don't like that ugly, jealous side coming out. You don't like to admit that you are, but you are. But there's so many rock songs. I mean, was it Jim Croce came up with one, Leroy Brown, right? And who else was it? Oh, Leonard Skinner, right? Leonard Skinner, give me two steps, mister. There's a few songs out there about pitfalls of a guy, picking up on another guy's old lady, so to speak, right? And for me, it goes so far as girlfriend. I don't. There's no reason with all the women that are uncommitted at all out there. There's no reason, and they're the most timid ones. They're the hardest ones, to get a relationship with. But they're often, they're keepers. So if you can break the ice with a girl, if you can make her attractive enough to you, you can break the ice, and you might have a real keeper.